move into today's episode. Hey, what's
Yeah.
up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the Ekasi Esports Podcast. I am your host, Perfect, and as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with my main man, Mr. Jude. What's up, Judah?
Hey man, I'm good. It's just cold, very cold. And hey, I was gonna think about something else, but it doesn't need to be said. But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. And yourself? I'm good.
Hey, man, it's cold. It's freezing.
Yeah, man.
It's cold. I guess we've reached that time in winter when it's unbearable. Like in the beginning, it's not like really winter. Like it's cold one day, then it's hot the next. Didn't make sense. And I guess it's the climate change thing. But
Yeah.
now it's cold. Now it's winter.
Now it's cold, man. You wake up, it's -3. Huh?
Nah, it's hard to get out of bed, bro. Like even just going to the bathroom to take a leak, you're like, nah, I'll hold it. But I don't trust myself though. But yeah, anyways, in today's episode, we'll be talking about the war on data, right?
Yeah.
The data and basically our data and privacy. It's common knowledge these days to know that a lot of companies are making bank from our data. I mean, with the rise of smartphones, came the rise of apps, and came the rise of third-party apps as well. I mean, third-party apps were already available, but like they became really popular with smartphones because smartphones were more capable and smarter. Hence the name smartphones.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yeah. So that allowed a lot of developers to go wild with what they developed, what apps they developed for these smartphones. And a lot of these apps, obviously, if you develop such a product, you need to pay for it. It's like a game. Like a game is also like an application. A game is an application. And when a game is released, what do? You pay for it, right? So you can play the game, so you can have access to whatever features the game provides. But then one thing you'd notice is that a lot of apps, especially on the Play and App Store, are free. Right? And you might ask yourself, if I'm able to download this app for free and use it, how do these guys make money? How do they make money?
Man, sometimes people don't even ask that question. You say, that's a free app. We're in.
Yeah, true. I mean, because they made us get used to it, right? I mean, we're like from get go, those apps are free. Like and a good example of a company that has made money and that also provides apps and services for free is Facebook, right? But one thing we should remember about this world is that nothing is really for free. You are paying
man.
somewhere, somehow. You're paying, and you might not like the way you're paying. I'm just saying. And that's what we'll be talking about in today's episode. And we'll be using Facebook as a case study for this episode. Because I mean, if you think about any company that has succeeded with this whole business model of providing free apps and also them, using something to get something, a good example is
Yeah.
It sounds like we're talking about drugs or something, but no, we're not.
We're not talking about drugs or anything like that, though.
But Facebook is a company, aka Meta, is a company that provides apps and provides services, right, through apps, and they're the biggest communication app service provider globally. Yeah, globally, because I mean, almost like globally everyone has a Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram account, provided that you have a smartphone. You probably have you probably use one of those services.
Yeah.
Right? Unless if you're in a country like China, which it becomes complicated to use software.
That's why they got WeChat.
Yeah, that's why they got WeChat. But yeah, to understand how Meta makes their money, we just have to understand how their business model is, and it's pretty simple. They offer their software for free, and all they do is they track and mine out data and sell it to advertisers. So those advertisers can advertise on their platforms, and boom, that's how they make their money. Sounds pretty simple, And also, like, if you look at how much they charge for their ads, apparently they charge about 25 cents, USD cents, by the way. So it's like around 3 Rand.
Yeah, 3 Rand per ad. Yeah.
So 3 rand
Yeah,
per
about
ad. And that might not seem like a lot, but I think last time I checked, I think Meta has like over 2 billion users, all
dude.
around. So
Dude.
think about that. So if it's like and every day an ad is how many ads are being shown? So how many 3 rands are those?
Bruh.
You know what I'm
Bruh.
saying?
Quite literally, yeah. And it's not like of those 2 billion users, all of them use Facebook or Instagram. Even if it's just a portion. Think about it. 3 rand from a million people. That's just like 3 million rand right there.
Exactly. And that's one
Quite
day.
literally.
And that's one day.
Yeah.
Think about a week. 3 million times 7, because like it's not like you only
Yeah.
use the apps during work days. You use them all the time, like every day. So now you have what, 21 million already.
Dude.
In a
In
month
just
you
a
have
week.
84 million. And that's just
Bruh.
from 1 million users. So now think about the billions of users that are on the platforms. And remember, they count the users on what's this, on Instagram alone. They count the users on Facebook alone. They count the users on WhatsApp alone, and then they take them together. And then bada boom, bada bang, bada bang, bro. And that's why Facebook's revenues over the past decade has grown by 30-fold. 30-fold, 30 times. That means their revenue from 2010 has increased by 30 times in the past decade. 30 times, bro. So that just shows that their business model, as simple as it may seem, it's very, very fruitful. But at what expense? At what expense? That's the question. Because even though, like I said, well, those apps are free for us to use, but are they really free?
Bro, nothing is ever free.
Nothing is ever
Nothing,
free.
honestly speaking, is ever free. Like some of the stuff, I'm not sure if people have seen this. Yeah, whenever you install apps, allow us to access to your files, your phone number, your contacts, your camera, your location. Dude, they literally, bruh, they ask for some random things. I'm just like, why do you guys need my location? Why is my location of any relevance to you guys? You know what I'm saying? But that's just the thing. That's just the thing. Why do you guys need so much information on me?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you
Yeah.
wonder. And Facebook is notorious for tracking user data, right? For mining and capturing user data, and basically exploiting every possible method just to capture its users' data, right? And that's how we pay for these services, basically by giving them the data, our personal data. That's how they're able to make their money, because like I said, they take that data and they sell it to advertisers, and then the advertisers give them the money, then they're happy. And this model was working, for them, all nice and dandy. But when other parties came into the mix, for example, Apple, right? Last year in 2021, Apple released an update, like, for their iPhones. It was iOS 14.5, where they added a feature which prevented apps from tracking users outside of the app itself. Right. So let me just give y'all like a quick rundown of how it works. So on iPhones, right, you have this thing called the
Yeah.
IDFA, right? The
Yeah.
identification for advertisers. It's basically a unique code that each device gets, right? And using that code, apps are able to tell who is using the app. So, for example, if I have an iPhone, right, and I go into Facebook will be able to see, oh, okay, so this person with this IDFA number just logged in. And then if I log out, okay, this person just logged out. Even if I close the app and shut it down, they were able to track what I'm doing outside the app using that IDFA number. So if let's say you saw an ad on Facebook, like right now, let's say I was on my phone right now and I saw an ad on Facebook, and then I was like, oh, they're selling a game for so and so amount. Cool. I close the app and I go to bed. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh, I want to actually download that game because I'll be bored in the bus. So I download the
Yeah.
game, I play it. So using your IDFA number, Facebook was able to track that you downloaded the game on the App Store, and they were able to say, this person saw our ad on our app at this time, And then the next day, even though they didn't download the game through the link we gave him, he still downloaded the game. So it's safe to assume that our ad influenced this user to download the game,
Yeah.
right? And they
Yeah.
were able to do that using the IDFA number. But then in iOS 14.5, Apple was like, nah, apps. It actually gave the user the option to whether say, yes, I want this app to track my activity outside the app, or no, I don't want them to track my activity outside the app. So that means they can only track your activity within the app, right? And this pissed
Yeah.
Facebook off. It pissed Zuckerberg
It
off.
really did. It really did. Think about it. If I make money by, taking advantage of users and their data, if someone tells me no, you can't do that, how will I react? What's the natural reaction to that? It's like, hey man, you're costing me money. You're ruining my business. I have to stop this immediately. Stop them dead in their tracks. But
Exactly. You'll
you
get
know,
pissed. You'll be pissed because this person's taking food out of your mouth, right?
exactly.
But by them doing that, they're exposing themselves. Basically, they're exposing themselves that they are watching your every move within the app and also outside the app. And it's not, by the way, it's not like Apple was like, stop this. It's not like Apple just like put out the update and was like, okay, we're stopping everything from tracking user activity. Now they just gave the user the option to say yes or no. So if you clicked on yes, that means Facebook or aka Meta was able to track your data and your activities outside their apps. But if you
Yeah.
said no, then that's your decision. So
Yeah. They
shouldn't we be given that right to decide?
as users, as users, definitely, because it's our own personal data that is being flinged across the internet from multiple people, and it's sort of like entices people to have this sort of reckless spending vibe, if you get me, if that makes sense, because it's something that you like, and you're constantly getting ads on it. I kid you not, yeah, I kid you not. I opened this one app on my phone once, and then by accident I closed it. I opened Facebook, I see an ad for it.
You see, exactly. I'm sure a lot of people have a similar story to yours, where they're like, okay, I was searching something on my browser, and then I opened up like, in this case, maybe opened up Instagram or Facebook or one of the Meta products, and next thing you started seeing an ad on your Facebook app, or you saw an ad on Instagram, which was the item that you were searching on Google.
Yeah.
What
Hey
the
man.
hell? But now you know that they were tracking you using that unique code. I mean, Android also has something similar, but like in this case, we are just like using Apple as an example because they're
Yeah.
the ones who brought down the hammer. And obviously, if Apple did this, it's also going to be coming to Android very soon, right? It's also
Yeah.
going to be enforced by Android very soon. Um, I mean, even now, like on my Android device, when like I'm using an app, it even says it doesn't allow, like I don't have the option like to allow for these apps to track my location, for example, like all the time. It just says allow tracking only when I'm
While
using the
using the
app.
app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the only option I get. Like that's the highest level of authorization I can give that specific app. So it just goes to show that a lot of these companies are bringing down the hammer onto companies like Facebook who track users every move within and outside the app, right? Because it's scary. It's
And
scary.
it is scary, but like the excuse that Facebook gave because of this was like, no, we're giving the users more personal data. We'll give them stuff that they want to see, rather than just giving them any random thing. And that, honestly speaking, is is honestly nonsense. I'd rather see ads that don't consent to me. That way, I know I'm not being tracked, I'm not being watched, rather than having ads that concern to me. Because if I want to buy something, I'll have that conscious decision to, hey, I want to go buy it, rather than being bombarded with constant ads on things that I might want to buy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, when you speak about this thing of capturing data and using it for advertisers and all that, that's one side of the coin, right? That's
Yeah.
like I won't say good side, but that's the clean side of it. But let's think about the malicious side of things. If, for example, your data was captured and tracked and being used by by these entities, the other side was is it being used to kind of to kind of influence your decision making.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like political decisions and all that. For example, there's a company called Cambridge Analytica, right? It was a British company that helped political parties campaign, push their campaigns on digital marketing platforms, right? So what they did, they tracked. I mean, they accessed, for example, in the US, they accessed, I think, about 59 million users data on Facebook, right? They were able to
Yeah.
access like 59 million profiles on Facebook, right? Maliciously, not like with through consent or anything. They just did they used some, some trickery, they use their ways. They use their ways to get access to the data, right?
Yeah.
And through that data they captured, they used that data to create personalized ads for users on Facebook for the Trump campaign, right? And it didn't help them when Trump was elected as president, because now it comes to question that what was the ad were the ads the ones that were responsible to like help Trump get elected? Did the
Yeah.
ads help influence the decisions of the citizens? So now it comes in. So now psychological influence comes into question. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because ads are
Yeah.
not just like there just to be like, oh, do you like it? No, they also affect how you think, and how you see things as well.
Yeah.
So see, that's the dark side of allowing these apps to check out every move, and also accessing our personalized data. And hence why I'm very skeptical when it comes to like things like, like on these apps, sometimes they ask you like some really deep questions, like on your profile.
Exactly.
Like, you're given like your profile section and you have to enter your data there. And they ask you things
Yeah.
like, enter your address. Where did you go to school?
Bro, dog, just imagine, yeah, someone hacks into your system, gets all of that data. They come to my house and they find me. What's gonna happen?
I mean, they'll know
What's
everything
gonna
about
happen?
you, definitely. They'll know everything about
Exactly.
you, and they'll know your every
Exactly.
move. So from the content that you post, and from the data that you give them, they can literally plan out your life and say, okay, so this is when he was born. This is when he started walking. Obviously, they'll add all that data, probably to some artificial intelligent program, and then they'll let that run, and it'll probably map out how your life panned out from the time you were born till now, which is
Yeah.
scary, right? Which is scary. Because like I said, like some of these questions are a bit too deep, and sometimes they're not as relevant. I mean, like, imagine if a stranger comes up to you and asks you all those questions. Even if, let's say, the
Hey yo,
stranger was
man.
helping you, let's say it was a guy at the convenience store, and then
Hey yo, man.
yeah.
What's your shoe size?
What's your shoe size? Oh yeah, exactly. How tall are you?
That's
Or
best enough.
or yeah, exactly. Where do you live? Where do you live? Where did you go to school? Which school did you go to back in high school? Or
Creepy,
which
bro.
varsity did you go
That's
to?
creepy.
You see, there's a lot of questions that you're giving these guys. So, and so I'm just saying, out here on the internet, we must be very, very careful of what we give, of what information we put out there. And
Yeah.
obviously, by Apple doing this, I'm pretty sure they knew that a lot of people will say no, because, I mean, if you're gonna tell the user that these apps are tracking you, and they want to track you, then obviously they probably knew that the users were not gonna like that, so they will probably like say no. And
Yeah.
even they predicted that a lot of users were gonna opt out, from being tracked by a lot of these services. So you know they
Big
I
ups
don't
to
know,
Apple.
they
It's just
knew
big
something.
ups to Apple. It's honestly just speaking big ups to Apple, you know. They started this movement, they started this trend, and I honestly feel like because of this, everything else will just like take off. And hopefully soon we see this with you know, other uh
Other
phone brands or
platforms, yeah,
yeah, other
actually,
platforms. Yeah.
just any platform, just any digital
Yeah.
platform. I feel like, as the users, like, as the more we're using these services, and the more we're jumping into the whole digital world, we should know what we're getting ourselves into. I mean, Steve
Yeah.
Jobs did say this in 2010, right, in a conference where he was saying that. I mean, he kind of saw things panning out this way. He was like, it should be clear. It should be said clearly that, okay, cool, this app is going to be tracking this, that, and that's what you can do with an iPhone these days, apparently. So apparently, when you open up the app for the first time, it tells you exactly what is going to be tracked. about like when it comes to your activity. And apparently
Yeah.
they did a test where they put Signal side by side with Messenger, Facebook Messenger, right? And they saw that Signal captured, I think, your number and your name,
Just
just
your phone
like,
number. Just
yeah.
your phone
Oh
number.
yeah, just your phone number. Yeah, just your phone number. But Messenger was tracking what? Your location, your physical
Dude.
location, your name, your user ID, your email. Like, I mean, there was also like some other data. I mean, I think your financial records, whatever
Yes,
financial
yes, yes,
stuff
yes.
you are entering there. They were checking a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole list of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And a whole lot of personal stuff that have nothing to do
With me using an app.
with me using a messaging app. So it kind of shows that these guys are doing more with our data than what we thinking, than what we think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all I'm just saying is just be careful when you're out here in these internet streets because they are watching. They are
Yeah.
watching. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, do
Yeah.
you have anything to add?
Nah, man, it's plainly put. You've quite literally said everything that can be said. Just make sure you know what you're doing and if everything that you're doing is safe and you consent to it. This is not a lesson, okay? This is not one of those lessons. I'm just saying, make sure you know your data's going.
Exactly, we must
Yeah.
know. We must know. And a lot of these companies have those long ass terms and conditions, and they put
No one's gonna read that.
yeah, no, they know not. They obviously know no one's gonna read that. They make them very smooth on purpose. They make them very long on purpose, just to deter you from reading because they don't want you to know what exactly they'll be doing with your data or
Yeah.
whatever they'll be doing also in the background that you might not consent to or that you might not agree with. So that's why they have to make it tough, for you to understand what they're doing. But yeah, with that said, man, just stay safe. Just stay safe out here, man. But I guess yeah, I guess we'll just end it here for today's episode. If y'all
Yep.
would like to add more to the conversation and all that, let us know. Let us know. Hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends. Tell your mama, tell your papa, tell everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, show us some love. And I guess we're gonna close it up here. So it's your boy Perfect,
And Jude.
and we'll see you guys in the next
Yeah.
episode.